versus you. It's you 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 versus you. Time to clear your mental, everything you've been through. Looking in the mirror like you're the one with the issues. You against yourself, feel like you against the world. Internally battling all of the trauma.
What's up, everybody? I'm Saquon. I'd like to welcome you all back to the You versus You podcast. Excited to be back and have this conversation with my brother. We're going to talk about collectivism. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, the importance of having a risk muscle strong enough to be able to pursue entrepreneurial endeavors. And we're going to tie all of that into the ancient African American proverb known as Ubuntu. And the definition of Ubuntu is I am because we are. And a quick story regarding that. There were some visitors that visited an African village. They were playing with the children. They asked the children to line up for a race. Children lined up for the race. Orchestrators of the race said, on your mark, get set, go. And immediately the children grabbed hands and they all ran together. And the orchestrators of the race, facilitators rather, they said, no, 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 everybody stop. You all have to run separately individually. There has to be a winner. So they lined up again. On your mark, get set, go. And they did the exact same thing. They grabbed hands and they ran together. And then they asked, why are we doing that? And one of the children said, Ubuntu. And then the facilitator asked one of the elders of the village, what does Ubuntu mean? And she simply said, I am because we are. So the concept of individualism wasn't even present within this village. It's all collectivism. And when I think about collectivism, when I think about Ubuntu, I immediately think of my brother here. This brother is a personification of entrepreneurial pursuit, entrepreneurial endeavor, risk muscle as a prerequisite to pursue entrepreneurial endeavors, and most importantly, collectivism. So, with that being said, I'd like to welcome my brother to the show, brother James Small. What's up, big
What's
time?
going on,
How you
man?
doing, man?
Good, good. Happy to be here, man. Happy to
Happy
be
to
here.
have you here,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Let's do it, man.
And in all fairness, this is a reshoot. We had to do this again.
Yeah,
We had a compelling conversation. We had a little bit of a sound issue, but I like that
mm,
because number one, that's the human component. Number two, from a mental health standpoint, that's the process. Sometimes you do
yeah.
something, sometimes it doesn't come out 100%. You
Right,
got to redo it, but having that level of resiliency,
right,
having that level of tenacity to get back in and redo it until you get that finished product is super, super dope.
right.
So again, I appreciate your time, brother, and thank you for
Likewise,
being here
man.
again,
Yeah.
my man.
Anytime, man.
So Ubuntu, man. So the first thing I want to say is we've been neighbors. We were neighbors for the better part of 10 years, right? You and I. And I've always been fascinated with your level of tenacity. Like, yo, you just go get it,
Yeah.
right? And every time I would talk to you, from the time that I met you till now, dog, this residual income. We got to get this residual income, and we got to do it. I can't work for nobody. I got kids to feed, man. I need this.
Yeah.
And like and then actually getting to know you and then seeing the substance behind that,
Right.
right? Like you had like four tech jobs at once
Yeah.
while simultaneously getting into the grant sector, right?
Yeah.
Doing in the crypto space,
Hot
trading currencies,
factory. Yeah,
dog
yeah, yeah.
factory.
All of it,
Talk
man.
to us about that, man.
Oh man. I mean, I think just early on, I've always developed a relationship with risk and the notion and the idea of having only one life to live. Just put that battery in my back. You know what I mean? To be like, what I got to lose. You know what I mean? Like, go for it. Period. Um, because the end result is, you know, God bless my one of my uncles, man, Shakespeare. He was in his late 70s, 80s before he died. Was working out at Walmart as a greeter. Now, if did he want to do that on his own? Maybe. Knowing my uncle, I don't think so. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, how do I make decisions now so that I don't have to do that at 70 and 80 years old? You know what I mean? So It comes with risk now because you have the withal, you have the time for the most part, and the energy to go after what you want to early on in life than you do later. So I just kind of stuck with me even before then. Just the fact of and it's not about the money. It's about what the money can bring you, which is freedom, right? Me and my wife and kids were watching Forrest Gump yesterday. Great movie because we visited Bubba Gump, the shrimp place.
Yeah,
Great food, by the way. And Orlando, the City Walk, awesome food.
I've been a few times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, love it, man. My kids loved it. So so we're watching Forrest Park. I mean, Forrest Gump, and the freedom he had once. I don't know if you guys remember, but what's his name? Lieutenant Dan ended up investing. Gave him money to invest into Apple based off the proceeds and profits they had made from
The gum
yeah,
shrimp.
yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, Lieutenant Dan said, I don't have to work anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, see, and that was probably seed back then that just hit now because my antennas are more up. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that allowed him to run for 3.5 years. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm
Absolutely.
not saying he probably would have done it without being financially comfortable, but knowing that you're financially comfortable, you know what I mean? You do other things that other folks can't do. You know what I mean? So that was one
Precisely.
example. Not that he had like a bunch of kids and had like lots of stuff to take care of, but he had to worry about money anymore. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And so if a lot of us don't have to worry about money, then you know income's more of a passion of what I want to do versus I have to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like even God being the primary example, the passion to serve Him versus having to serve Him, He appreciates the passion more. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. So that concept, that principle of ownership of your time, having
hmm,
money to provide freedom,
right.
is a seed that was planted seemingly early
Early.
within you. And then
Yeah.
in when you were speaking a moment ago, when you began, you said something that was profound. You said, "I developed relationship with risk
Right.
early on." Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I hit the gym, I work out a little bit. Probably don't look like it as much, but I do. I go regularly, and my body is beginning to change.
Mm,
But you have a risk muscle, man,
right.
and it seems like from a mental health standpoint, for you to be able to take those risks, it seems like now I'm sure you've had traumatic experiences,
Right.
things of that nature,
Yeah.
but it seems like you've never lived your life in a survival state. Like
Right.
you've always been, yo, I want to thrive.
Right.
I want to get to it.
Right.
Like we got one life to live. I
Right.
want to get to that back. And I know you said that you developed that relationship with risk early on,
Mhm.
but talking about epigenetic influences, the environment influencing the gene,
Right.
what were or who were your influencing factors that embedded this psychological
Um,
set within you?
I think the earliest I kind of recall is one of my teachers in high school, I believe, probably in middle school, and we had a topic on risk. I don't remember what teacher it was or what class it was, but I just remember just constantly hearing about have to take risk. You know what I mean? Um, and looking at the number of millionaires in the world, I think there's a large portion of that percentile they don't have degrees, right? So
Facts.
they just went after, God probably put a seed in in their head, in their mind, and they went after it. You know what I mean? So it just never left me knowing that I like to eat. You know what I mean? So I need monies for that. I got kids to feed, and to eat how I want to eat. Just the bare necessity of food, right? Kind of influences that as well because hey, my kids that like my daughter started eating crab legs like at 6 7 months. She didn't do baby food. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Wow.
she just went right from milk to food.
That's a major flex, man.
No,
That's
I'm
a
just saying.
major flex. We don't do baby food in this house.
No,
We do crab legs and
nah,
feathers.
nah, nah.
Get your weight up,
No,
basically.
we tried to give her that. You know what I'm saying? But she was like,
Nah,
nah.
that's an expensive
Yeah,
taste.
yeah.
Mm.
Like she started smelling it. She was like, you know what I'm saying? So gave us some and it was a wrap. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, to this day, like, she likes to eat what she want to eat.
But
What
in
she wants to eat.
fairness,
Yeah.
like all of your children
Right.
have, and I don't want to say expensive taste. What I want to say is they have an extensive cuisine palette.
Right.
because you and your wife,
Right.
shout out to my sister,
Right.
emphasize the importance
Mhm.
of giving these experiences,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like your children, they have the experience of going to, great restaurants. They eat all types of cuisine, whether
Right.
it's Italian, whether it's African, whether it's seafood, so
Right.
on and so forth,
Right.
right? So yeah, so their taste buds are getting an education,
Right.
but on a subconscious level,
Hmm.
they're getting an education as well because they're being immersed or the beginnings of the immersion in each of these respective cultures,
Right.
which helps with their formal education, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they might get a standardized test,
Right.
and that test may have a question about a
Right.
scallop,
Right.
right?
Right.
Now, if I never eaten a scallop,
Right.
if I never read a story that has the food scallop in it,
Mm-hmm.
then I probably
Gonna get that answer
won't
wrong.
answer that question correctly.
Right.
But the lack of that lived experience doesn't really determine or reflect rather my capacity for learning. It
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't a part of my lived experience,
Yeah.
right? So you're utilizing the money as a tool
Mhm.
to give yourself both freedom and experiences.
Indeed. Yeah.
And you're embedding that culture, that mindset into your children. And I commend you for that, man. Like
Appreciate
you
it,
just
man.
came back from vacation and you do this every year.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's important, man. I mean, I grew up experiencing vacations, and it's just important to the development and knowing that it's a whole world out there. You know what I'm saying? I never forget when I first went overseas and traveled to Dubai. It took us 13 hours straight to get there, going about 400 or 500 miles an hour.
Mm,
Just think about that on a road, like from here to Chicago or something, going 400, 500 miles an hour. I'm gonna
right,
get there probably like 2 hours.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So to say for it to take me 13 hours at that velocity to a whole nother world, you know what I mean? It was just fascinating to me. You know what I mean? And so my kids have to experience that. You know what I mean? They have to see that hell, it's an entire globe out here. It's an entire world out here that pretty much your oyster. Like whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, sky's the limit. You know what I mean? There's no limitations on your life.
Absolutely. Now, your father is,
Mm.
pardon me, a huge influence in your
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
life. And I'd like for you to talk about that.
Mm.
And then also, it's my understanding that he was in the military, right?
Right.
And I would imagine that there was extensive world travel involved in that experience as well.
Yeah, for him, not too much for me.
Right,
We
right.
yeah, we did. Excuse me. Travel to Germany, and then did some travel around the U.S. for the most part, and then I kind of like most of my development was done in Hinesville, Savannah, Georgia, in that area. So, but yeah, but my dad, man, and my mom. Shout out to my mom and dad, man. Great influences. Backbone. My dad was always in books, and hence I'm always in books. I'm always reading because I seen it done, right? So it's very imperative as a parent that we're aware of what our children see because they will mimic it. You know what I mean? Like when
Absolutely.
I go anywhere now, I just feel funny when I having something to read. You know what I mean? Like it's in a, I don't know what to call it other than influence, but yeah. So he was retired from the military, moved to Virginia, allowed me to stay back so I could graduate high school in Hinesville, Georgia. Always commend him from that, but he took risk. You know what I mean? He saw something bigger than the small town that he grew up in Florida and wanted more out of life, and so he went to the military. And yeah, so he was the example for me to, what I'm saying, kind of, step away from what you know. I remember going to Africa by myself for the first time. I'm thinking about his experience. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, ain't nothing to it but to do it. I'm gonna go out here and do what it do. You know what I mean? And have an experience. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, he's definitely a blueprint to how I have um, that attitude about life and about back to risk and helping with that risk muscle.
Absolutely, man. And it's interesting, right? Because we talked a little bit about epigenetic influences or influences in general
Mm.
and planting the seeds. And
Right.
you plant certain seeds in your children. And then a moment ago, you said, listen, you see what your parents do, and your children are going to
Oh
mimic
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So seeing the risk muscle that your dad had, right? And then his experience joining the military, being able to travel, and then when you come of age, right? And then you get into the contractor
Mm.
space, right? And because you had that experience, maybe not directly, but
Right.
indirectly,
Right.
right?
Right.
Along with that risk that was transferred to you,
Right.
ain't nothing to it but to
Oh
do
yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
now you're traveling,
Yeah.
right? Talk to me a little bit about how seeing the world just opened up your mind to say, yo, there's much more
Yeah.
to this thing.
It's just going back to God and Scripture and just how you know the Bible, Jesus, how where he traveled at, right? Like we're nowhere where he traveled at. You know what I
Right, right,
mean?
right.
So, um, but just the what was the question again? The how to I want to make sure I hit it on the
Just
head.
how these epigenetic influences
Mm.
gave you the strength, like your father's
Right.
willingness to take risk,
Right.
his travel through the
Right.
military, and then when you came of age
Right.
to be able to be like, you know what, yo, I'm going to Africa, I'm going
Yeah,
here, I'm
yeah, yeah,
going
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, again, just seeing it, you know what I'm saying? Seeing it, and kind of picture myself there. What my first experience as an adult going overseas was I was a contract in Baghdad, Iraq, for about 6, 7 months, but I ended up staying overseas for about 4 years. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But my first experience was April April 2011. I'll never forget it.
right.
Because it was eye opener. And so that experience just like this what they're doing in the states is cool, but it's a whole world out here that eh, I don't know. I don't. It's kind of hard to explain. You know what I mean? Especially going to Africa. Back home, when I first went back home by myself, bro, I'm in tears when I had to leave. Like
Wow.
literally, that's like I'm walking down the what is it called? The not doormat, but the I forget what it's called when you tarmac in tears because I don't know exactly when I'm gonna be able to come back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's cheaper over there because I was already like in the Middle East, you know what I mean? So to come back to the motherland was like maybe 400, 500 bucks
Oh my
round trip
God.
versus from the States to Africa, you know what I'm saying? So I just didn't know when I'd be able to come back. But just, having these 10 toes on the motherland, is just something that kind of just comes over you, man. Like I just can't, I can't really explain it, you know what I mean? But you, those that know, you know what I mean? So I encourage um, everyone to just kind of go back to the foundation. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting to hear you say all of those things because part of my mental health journey, right? Looking back on my life, not from a victim standpoint,
right,
right? But from an inquisitive standpoint. Like I
mm,
really wanted to understand, how I became,
right,
my mindset, my beliefs,
right,
whether they were limited or not.
right,
Like, how was that fashioned or shaped? You know, and looking at some of my predecessors, so to speak, we're from the gutter, public housing, didn't have much. Upbringing was hard, but that's a lot of people's story, right?
right,
But tying it to what you were talking about, I had a lot of people that had a lot of gifts in my family, a lot of people that had a lot of intelligence in my family.
mm,
Very, very, very few risk
mm,
takers. Very, very, very few people that looked at money as a tool
mm,
as opposed to being a consumer. I get
mm,
a dollar, I got to spend a dollar.
mm,
You understand what I'm saying?
right, right, right,
Further, very few people, dare say none, that looked at people with money without thinking that they did some type of shisty thing,
mm,
right?
mm,
And so hearing those conversations, oh, he must have did something crazy or this, that, and the other, right? Like you said, your children see you, they mimic that, right? So I think psychologically, on a subconscious level, my relationship with money was the same way. Right? It was negative, right? You work a job, you make some money, you get a few dollars to, buy what you want. No emphasis on saving, no emphasis on utilizing that as a tool to be able to better your life. Not to mention, and you and I are both very spiritual, right?
mm,
But I think within my family, I think that it was a perverted type of spirituality
mm,
that was self induced.
mm,
And I want to study more to figure out the source of that. But self induced meaning, you hear certain things, your reward is in heaven and heaven.
mm,
Be happy with your current
mm,
lot in life,
mm,
right? Not wanting to pursue anything, right?
right,
And I remember that movie with Denzel, The Book of Eli, when the dude was sending everybody out to find that book because he needed something to subdue
To stand
the
on.
people that he was trying to control.
Right.
And he said, well, look, if we find this
Right.
book, and I'm not shitting on religion,
Yeah.
the version of it, he said, look, if we find this
Mm,
book,
mm,
we don't have to put our foot down on the people.
mm.
The book will do it for. They'll think that this is what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So you don't, and then anyone that exercises ambition,
Mhm.
that wants more, even though they have a lot, will be viewed as being an enemy.
Mm,
So this was my take. This was my upbringing. Like these were my predecessors. These were the people that I learned from.
mhm.
And now, working my journey, shifting that mindset,
Right.
understanding again, money is a tool that, you know, no, I want my heaven here on earth as well.
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I'm endowed with the same thing that all of these high achievers are
Yeah.
endowed with, right?
Yeah.
And then having people in my immediate circle such as you,
Yeah.
right? Because you had examples,
Mhm.
right? And the example is so important because, you know, I never really saw, like I saw hustlers, right?
Mhm.
So like street level hustlers, right? Like
Right.
even if you from the street, like you can get money, you can still learn certain things regarding money, certain things about delayed gratification, how to utilize money, so on and so forth. But on the street level, you really don't see that, right?
Mhm.
But in my adult life, like I've been privileged to, meet quite a bit of people who have a different type of mindset.
Mhm.
Take you, for instance, right? I learned so much from you about money, right? And having having the example is so important because you see the glitz, you see the glamour, you see the physical thing, right? I see the car, I see this. Subconsciously, you're picking up on the habits, the delayed gratification,
Mhm.
the willingness to take a risk,
Mhm.
right? To get a bag, save a huge portion of the bag,
Mhm.
don't blow it.
Right.
Take that money, not be scared to put it into something else, so on and so forth.
Right.
You do this so well. At any given time, and this is a conservative estimate.
Mm.
At any given time, you probably got paper in about 8, 9 different areas working for you, like the king of Babylon, right? Talk to me about that, man.
Man, God, you know what I mean? The word says he'll give you the desires of your heart, right? And like we talked last time, my handle, you know what I mean, on IG, um, James of Loxley, and that stuck with me. I think I've been on IG now about 8, 10, 10 years. That stuck with me because I was already that before Instagram. I was already that before the handler, right? I'm always trying to impart and give and educate and devise a plan of how we can get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like back in my artistry days, we have a number of songs and tunes about getting it together. You know what I'm saying? One of my brother of 30 years, man, KT, um, his monarchy is called the Catalyst, right? So he is bringing people and things together. So I think my crew, if you will, we all kind of think the same way. And it's going back to the title of the show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ubuntu. It's not only it takes a team to win, right?
Mm,
It just does. No one, I don't care who says they're self-made. Like that's blasphemy to even say that I'm self-made. I
facts.
wouldn't dare say that. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And it's crazy to even think that. But yeah, I mean, it takes a team. It takes timing, and it takes faith. You know what I mean? So just having the notion again of being able to provide for others. You know, $10,000 a month. That used to be my goal 6, 7 years ago. You know what I mean? When I reached that, thank God. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, okay. I need to think bigger because 10 was the goal, but I can only do. I'm still have a limit on what I can do. I finally left working overseas. I think my top was like 300 a year, 300K a year. And I was like, okay, 300 is cool. That equated to about 90, 800 every 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? Which is dope, phenomenal money, right? But that was my limit. That was my
Mm.
ceiling. I'm like, okay, I'm a risk taker. Again, it's just in my heart. Like I don't want to be sealed at 300,000 a year when I could come back in the States or whatever and figure something out and make 300,000 a month. You know what I mean? So I don't like ceilings. I just never been okay, well, this is all you're gonna get. Not as the defiance. It's just like, well, God said I can have abundantly more and more. Not being greedy, right? Because again, you put God first, and to be able to take care of his people second. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing my kids or someone else I was able to help and impart in, and they succeed. You know what I mean? Like it's bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than my bloodline. You know what I'm saying? What about your bloodline? You know what I mean? How can we help each other's
Mm.
bloodlines and just mimic that response and mimic that success and just like because there's more than enough out here. You know what I mean? God told the birds like do the birds worry about what they gonna eat?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? The ants worry about they don't worry about the stuff we worry about. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a lot of gutting out fear because fear plays a major role in risk,
Mm.
right? So and it's easier said than done, but having and even developing that muscle, the risk muscle, you know what I'm saying? It can be developed. Hey, let me step out on faith. You know, because again, I mentioned last time, you know, the scripture says that without God, excuse me, without faith, it is impossible to please Him. So He's like,
Impossible.
if you don't, right, it's
Say that one
impossible
more
to please.
time.
Without faith, it is impossible to please me.
Mm.
I had to muster on that and just in my mind, just like, wow, does that really mean what I think it means? Yes. That means exactly that. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Word.
okay, let me start there, right? And so to believe in the unseen, right, takes faith. And the faith as a mustard seed will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Oh
You know
my
what I
God.
mean? So it comes down to that scripture, man. And a lot of times, you know, I find myself weeping just because he's been so good to me, bro. Like it ain't just me doing what I'm doing. You know what I
Facts.
mean? Those 4 gigs I had at that time, that was in a time of my life where I needed it. You know what I mean? Not even needed it, but I was able to do for so many other households at that time. And you know, appreciated it. I showed that. And there's another parable in the scripture. I forget exactly what, but the point was I think it was 10 people did something. God did something for 10 people, and only one came back and said thank you.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's still important to say thank you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So just all that, just you know, having not even being religious, but just being, you know, scripture based.
Word.
And I'm not saying I'm a saint, you know, I have
Of course
without
not.
sin, but there are certain words that, you know, stick with you, especially the more that you read it, the more that you consume it, it becomes you. And like, you know, having faith,
Word.
stepping on the faith. Hey, ain't no plan B. You know what I mean? Like God said this, I'm gonna believe, I'm gonna stand on that word. You know what I mean? And so that's just how it's become for me. And I see it time and time again when I take my stuff out, when I take me out the way of being able to do XYZ and just see how he is orchestrating things for me
Right.
and for my family and and my loved ones. I can see it. You know, what I mean, and real quick, I got a partner, man.
Do you think?
Shout out to Son and Y. He has a restaurant, and uh, shout out to Hudson and Alphonse. You know what I'm saying, downtown. They doing numbers, man. They doing numbers. There ain't no cheesesteak. It's a I'm gonna get it wrong. Dang, what is it? It's not a cheese. It's a great sandwich spot though. You know,
Yeah.
daily. But when I seen just in God work in His life with this venture,
Okay.
I can see it. You know what I mean? That God is on him. You know what I mean? And so that propels me to even more because we you know, we break bread, we talk,
Word.
we, you know what I'm saying? So that further amplifies my conviction of what I know, you know what I mean? And then being able to again partner to anyone who'll listen. Hey, well, let's talk. Because the more you talk, the more you kind of come up with ideas and strategies. Like, what you really trying to do? Let's figure it out. You know what I'm saying, and go from there.
No doubt. All of that was great, profound, man. There was some flexing in there, and I love it. I mean, it was like, yeah, 10,000 a month. That was 7 years ago. This is how we live it. And I'm glad you said all of that because
Right.
everything that you said was a perfect piggyback of everything that I said before. And you gave a perfect example of what I was saying. The limited mindset that I had, right, will take that type of statement
Mm-hmm.
and utilize it to justify their limited position of money and people with money. You see what I mean? He's
Mm-hmm.
making all of this and he has the gumption, the nerve to
Right.
say
Right.
he wants more.
Right.
That's why money ain't good. People ain't good. And then they'll use a scripture
Right.
that's misinterpreted. The
Right.
love of money is the root of all evil. But I have a different experience. And this was my mindset,
Mm,
subconsciously embedded within me.
mm,
But when you said that,
mm.
like, yeah, I was doing this and then I came back to the States, I could do more than that,
Yeah.
right? And then you come back to the States. But people don't look at the fact that you work in 4 tech jobs.
Mm,
And then they don't see the quiet work that I was able to see, that I was privileged to see.
yeah.
When you say, you know what? I'm gonna get into this government contract
Right.
space. I don't know shit about this space,
Right.
but I'm gonna learn everything about it, right? And I'm gonna stay up,
Yeah.
sun up, literally,
Yeah.
sun up
Yeah.
to sundown
Yeah.
in my backyard. And I'm gonna get on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna learn everything about this contract writing, how you actually solicit, how you actually submit a contract. What's the process that you go through after you submit a contract? Are there any other loopholes I got to jump through before the approval?
Right.
What type of business? You did all of that.
Yeah.
And I watched this. Like I used to be out watering my grass. I'm talking about day in, day out to the wee hours of the morning,
Yeah.
right? And that's a perfect correlation to what you just said that scripture was.
Mm.
It's impossible to what?
To please him.
Without
Without
faith.
faith, it's impossible to please
So
him.
that worked
Right.
because there was nothing there.
Right.
But see, we have to redefine the nature of our association with what nothing is.
Mm.
God hovered upon the face of the water.
Right.
The earth
Right.
was void and
Right.
without form.
Right.
It's the same way our mind works. Your
Right.
mind is capable of conceiving anything.
Right.
It's void, like your imagination is
Right.
void without form.
Right.
And that faith, that's why faith without work is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that work that you put in was indicative of a faith that you had
Mm-hmm.
because you saw something
Mm-hmm.
that nobody else saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then it eventually came into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
You hovered over the face of the waters.
Right.
And then you said, let there be boom, let
Right.
there be boom,
Right.
let there be boom.
Right.
And then it started to produce and manifest itself.
Right.
And then you saw that it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Same way the Father did. You feel me? You did the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
indeed. It is.
So, but a
Yeah.
limited mind
Right. Right.
misses all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Misses the process.
Yeah.
Just sees the end result, or better yet, all I see is the shit that I covet,
Mm-hmm.
that you have, that blinds me to the
Mm-hmm.
real gift
Right.
that you have to give.
Right.
By me going out there watering my grass every day, watching you do that,
Mm-hmm.
I was a horse that you was leading to water indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
So I could say that everything that I've created now
Mm-hmm.
and everything that I have in my possession now, alhamdulillah, by the grace of the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
is as a result of some of those seeds
Mm. That's
and the
beautiful.
conversations that we would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the willingness to go into my
Right.
software
Right. Yeah.
and rewrite that program. You feel me?
Beautiful.
Rewrite that
That's beautiful.
program.
Yeah. That's
Be
it.
like, yo, everything that's endowed in him is endowed in me. But there's one thing, and then the honesty
Mm-hmm.
is a crucial component. See,
Right.
the one thing that I'm not doing,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that the haters are not doing,
Mm-hmm.
see, they ain't day in and day out working.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm day in, day out working,
Right.
I'll get the same result.
Right.
And that's where the faith And that's where it comes from. You
Right.
got to prove yourself worthy, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
again, I just want to commend you. I want to thank you
Mm,
for teaching me that indirectly.
mm,
I want to thank you for being who you are. Because again, yo, this brother is a genius. This brother's work ethic, man, the way that he takes care of his family, like his family's quality of life is just amazing, man. And to have the gumption, that wrist muscle to be like, yo, I want more, but then put the work in
right.
to get it.
Yeah.
That's just a whole nother level.
Bro, I mean, it's so much information out there, man. You can be whatever you want to be. You know what I mean? I know Nas got a song like that. I was already on that track, you know what I mean? But in terms of like how I was moving in my life, you know what I mean? But go back to the $10,000 a month statement. I was speaking that in existence. You
Facts.
know what I'm saying? And then when it happened, I wasn't surprised. I was grateful, but I'm like, okay, you know, this is my tool.
Word.
Right. So I'm gonna this is how I'm gonna shape my life. And shout out to Pastor Dollar, man, because that's one of the, my father's a minister as well, you know what I'm saying? So I grew up under his tutelage, of course, but Pastor Dollar just kind of amplified faith and grace and the words at your mouth. That's how you shape your future. Like, and I've been going for 20 years. So it's no surprise that, I'm here where I'm at, you know what I mean? Because I do take heed to, a lot of those teachings, especially when it comes to faith, you know what I mean? Because, that's, again, that profound word that is impossible to please me. Um, it took root. You know what I mean? So, um, I find myself in situations even today where I have to step out on faith still. And that's just and I thank God for that, right? Because you don't want to just be too comfortable, right? Um, because you're not when you're comfortable, you're less reliant on can God still do what he did before.
Mm,
So he'll shake your life up, you know what I'm
word.
saying? To it says let patience have a perfect work. I think James 1:1, somewhere around there. Trials and tribulations come for you to grow and mature and to depend on God. This man's system is going to fail, right? But if we depend on God, we're less likely to commit suicide. We're less likely to, give it all up or do something crazy because, the banks is closed or the president doing something crazy. You know what I mean? Like, nah, that's not who I depend on anyway. You
Mm,
know what I mean? So you guys are just puppets, but God said he'll never leave me nor forsake me, nor put more on me than I can bear. Right. So with having those tools and having this as a sword, man, it's literally sky's the
my man.
limit.
Before we segue into the Ubuntu portion, because I did this purposely in two segments, right? Because I said in the beginning we wanted to talk about, your risk muscle, right? Your willingness to pursue entrepreneurial endeavors, and I think that we
Right.
covered that immensely, right? But the
Mhm.
last piece of that before we segue into the collectivism part is, the last time we talked, he was like, "Yo, I don't want to work for nobody." Like, talk to me about that, man.
uh, I know too much at this point.
Mm,
You, I know too much in terms of the government contracting, knowing how supply and demand works, um, understanding how to write a contract one time and get paid off of it for 5 years.
mm,
I'm experiencing that, right? So now when you tell me, hey, I got a job for you at $70 an hour, as a quote unquote worker, it don't work for me no more because I know too much. You know what I'm saying? So the $70 that you're paying me an hour to do this IT work, the actual bill rate is $250 an hour. Right. But and I know that now. So to be able to accept that is like, nah, let me just who's the client? Okay. AT&T or DOD or what is it, CDC? Cool. Let me go figure out who the contracting officer is over there. right? Um, make sure I can meet their need, right? Make sure I can bring value, right? And then submit a proposal. They accept the proposal, then I'm doing the hiring, right? And not that I just want to just be this boss, you know what I mean? I think I'd be a great boss. I mean, I've been in leadership before, but to be a boss, like I mean, I was. I mean, we had employees at the hot dog factory. That was an experience for what I'm doing now in IT. But we have about
Precisely.
9 employees. You know what I mean? And that venture didn't work out how we had hoped, but it was a lesson. And so, again, I'm not just trying to just be the boss of all bosses. I do think I have the mentality to be a great boss and a great leader, right? Because I'm all about providing value to customers, right? It's all about customers in the day. Whether I'm serving you a burger or I'm selling you IT services, how's my service helping your company out? How's my, you know what I'm saying? How is what I'm providing helping your end user? Right. And so that's what it's about. And again, it all really comes down to God's people because we all, well, not all of us, but but you go through in the notion of, okay, I'm serving God's people, right? So
Word.
let me figure out how I can best serve them with the expertise that He's given me or that I learned, right? Because I didn't learn this IT on my own. A lot of what was staying up, like you see me with that the contracting. I learned a lot of IT concepts and software by just going on YouTube, and putting the effort. It take effort. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is not hard. A lot of stuff is really not hard to get. You just have to be willing to. You got to put the time in to get it.
And that's the key. You said something so profound, man. You said, I know too much. See, a lot, you know, I was a fraud for, I mean, I was growing, but I was a fraud for a long time. I was a fronter, I was a perpetrator.
Mm,
So I was able to utilize my gifts, like this silver tongue that I have, like my stature. I can walk in a room, I can command a room.
right.
And I utilize that to just get over, right? Because my eyes were squinted
Mm,
open, right?
mm,
I didn't want my eyes to be fully open
mm,
because of the responsibility and the accountability that
mm,
came.
mm,
See, I feared that.
mm.
But what you said was so profound. You said, I know too much. And there's a scripture that, and I can't quote it verbatim,
Right.
but it's like your eyes can be open to the point
Right.
to where they can never close again. And that's what you're saying, right? My eyes
Facts.
have been open to the
Yeah.
point to where I can never close. But it takes self assuredness, it
Mm,
takes self worth, it takes self love, it takes manifest
mm-hmm.
destiny
Mm-hmm.
to do that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Basically, it takes not being a pussy,
Yeah.
not saying that we're saying that's not gender specific.
Right.
Okay, we love all of our women viewers. All right, so I don't even want to apologize. It's not
Yeah.
gender specific.
Right.
Okay, so don't take offense. So yeah, man. So your eyes were open. Now, but when I hear you say that,
Mm,
because I think that you're a fantastic boy. I think that you're a fantastic leader. I learned from you. There's so much value add that you have to offer people,
mm,
right? And then when you reference the hot dog factory, yeah, no, that's the beauty. Like failure is not a real thing.
mm.
Like you learn so much, like you even
Right.
said it yourself,
Yeah.
to get you to this point that you utilize
Yeah.
now. Like who's to say that that wasn't the three-dimensional
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
classroom to get that to
Right.
be here? But what I hear you say when you say, yo, I don't want to work for nobody. And Dave Dash was criticized for
Mm-hmm.
this when he was on the Breakfast Club a few years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like he was shitting on people that work, right? Because we have to be mindful of how we speak and what we say. We can't allow ourselves to become so overly emotional to where we lose tact, to where we lose reason,
Right.
and understand that we're speaking to people. But what I hear when you say that is like, listen, I don't want to be a tool, right? And there's nothing wrong with tools.
Right.
The internet, the worldwide internet is a tool.
Right.
For all intents and purposes, it's a tool that revolutionized the entire world, the
Oh,
way we
indeed.
do everything.
Indeed.
An army Swiss knife is a tool,
Right.
right? You take that little contraption and it can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, at face value, you'll probably look at it and say, well, hey, it's just a fucking army Swiss knife. But if you were trapped in the woods with nowhere to go and you didn't have anything, you probably give your right arm
Right, right.
for an army Swiss knife. So there are great tools,
Mm,
tools that have the capability and have
mm,
transformed the entire landscape of the world that we know. But when I hear you say that, it's like, yeah, tools are great,
mm.
but I want to be a creator.
Right.
And you were born in the image and likeness of the Father.
Indeed.
People stay stuck on image,
Mm,
right? So to be born in the image of a thing means I look like a thing.
right.
To be born in the likeness of a thing means I possess all of the attributes that
Mm,
you possess.
mm,
And we see that on a smaller level or a microcosm. Like you've seen many NBA greats, many NFL greats, have great careers, retire, have children. Now they're pursuing the same thing
mm.
because they were born in the image and likeness, right?
Right,
But on an esoteric level, on a spiritual level, you're saying, hey, no, I have the ability to create,
right.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it says it right there in
Yeah.
Genesis, right? And you're choosing to live in
Right,
that
right, right.
and you want to create,
Yeah,
you want to push your creative juices to the limit. You
right,
want to say, listen, I got X amount of years here,
right.
and I want to be able to look back and say, I pushed it to the absolute limit.
Yeah.
And I admire that about you.
I mean, and I appreciate that, man. I do appreciate that. Even on the trip we just took
Mhm.
to we went to this theme park called Super Nintendo World. All I could think about was how much did this cost? That's where my mind is at now. Like, what did this cost? The infrastructure, how they had the parking, how they had the carts to get everyone to and from, um, how they actually like it's Nintendo World. Like literally everything about this place is it's a video game. You know what I mean? And they brought it to life. So while we're waiting in lines and we're just moving around and the kids having the ball, I'm just like, I don't have no. I haven't Googled it yet, but I don't have no idea where to start. Was it 500 million? Was it 2.1 billion? You know what I mean? And then how did that process take place? Right? What was used as collateral? What were the payments? On that. You know what I mean? So now I'm thinking like that. So to be thinking like that, I can't just work for. You know what I mean? Just I just
So and so tech making 70 and that ain't gonna
no,
do
I
it.
mean, I'm not. That's good money.
You ain't
You know what I'm
making it.
saying? I'm not knocking it. I'm just, I've
You were born for something greater.
not even saying that's not great because we all have our assignments,
It's
right?
not for you.
I mean, I've done it. I can say I didn't do it. I've done it. Not, kind of been there, done that. But it's all about advancing. It's all
Right.
about progression. You know what I mean? So we're not meant to just stay stuck in one place.
You see how we do that? I'm gonna let you come back to that. You see how we do that
Mm.
and we take a subconscious disposition to almost apologize for it?
Mm. Because this message won't fall on everyone the same way, right? So I don't want your listeners that are not thinking like this to not be able to get nothing from it,
My man.
right? So because I was again once there, right? Working or I was trying to get an IT job, making X amount of dollars, you know what I mean, and that was the goal. But with AI coming into play, y'all better be believing in God. You know what I'm saying? Y'all better know who your creator is, man, and not depend on man because AI is doing they doing some things that were spoken
Yeah,
that were meant to happen.
absolutely.
Y'all taking jobs away.
Absolutely.
Uh Down in Orlando, we visited a Wendy's, and this was the first Wendy's restaurant we had visited where the we went to the drive through. It's all AI.
Oh,
She took the whole order. There was a female AI agent. Took the whole order, and then we got up to the front, and then a human handed us the food. But in terms of taking the order,
nothing wrong.
not
Neither.
no, nothing was wrong. She right, right. So she, the lady that handed us the food verified, what the order was, but it was all AI. You know what I mean? So what do you expect it's going to be in 2030?
Facts.
You know what I
That
mean?
fast.
So it's like, hey, you got to really be thinking what what AI jobs are, you gotta look 10 years down the road. Like, what's
You
gonna
have to.
happen in 10 years? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's gonna be taken away? And then, with the wisdom of God that you ask for, which he said he'll freely give you, you know, that align with your purpose, and then you'll be all right in 10 years. But if you're not thinking, if you're not forward thinking, you're gonna be stuck. You know what I mean? I had a homeboy, not a homeboy, but a mentor, man, that passed. He got stuck,
Mm.
and he couldn't see above where he was at, and ultimately, kind of aiding his demise. But you gotta have vision, you gotta have focus, you gotta want to look down the future. You know what I mean? I'm not e- Employment is good. You know what I mean? Because you're developing something, you're helping a end user out, and you're making money from it. But at the same time, like, I would challenge your listeners to want to progress in whatever they're doing. Right? Say I'm a cashier. I don't want to be a cashier for five. I mean, 5, 10 years, maybe whatever. But why not be, work? You know what I'm saying? Okay, what's if I'm a cashier now? Where do I want to be in 10 years? And figure out a plan to get you there. You know what I mean? So that's what I would challenge. That's what I would hope to come out of what I'm saying basically is challenge yourself, believe in God, have faith, and it all comes down to, I didn't come down to, but that's how, Ubuntu kind of works into that, right? Because each one teach one, you know, we're stronger together than we are
And
apart.
that's a perfect segue. I couldn't have set that up any better. Ubuntu. You're back to your IG handle, James of Loxley. That comes from Robin of Loxley.
Right.
For those of you in the viewership who may not understand what that is, check out, well, there are several Robin Hood movies,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right. Robin Hood was the hero, the nemesis was the sheriff of Nottingham, and basically Robin Hood stole from the rich and gave to the poor. Now, a limited mindset would think, well, because of the visual, that was the premise of the movie.
Mhm.
And in fairness, you are given gold, right? But
Mm.
when we talk about Ubuntu and we talk about collectivism, you're not given the gold coin.
Right.
You're given
Right.
this gold.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that has been who you've
Yeah.
been
Yeah. Yeah.
since before I met
Yeah.
you. But for me, ever since I met you, it's like, yo, you want to give everybody you know the
Hmm.
keys to the kingdom. You want to give everybody you know
Hmm.
this same mindset that you've been talking about.
Yeah.
Where did that come
Ugh. Um. I don't know exactly. um. I can just think back to slavery days. You know what I'm saying? Harriet was the same way. She knew the way, but it ain't enough for me to just get there. You know what I mean? Like, I want all of us that are deprived and don't have access to freedom to get there. It ain't enough for just me, right? And so I've never had that attitude or that outlook on life. Well, let me just get by. Again, it's bigger than just my bloodline. You know what I mean? Like, I just want the most. I mean, I'm a sincere individual, just period. You know what I mean? Like the other day um when that airplane crashed, and I don't remember, it was a couple, it was two, husband and wife and their three kids.
from?
I forget the airline, but it happened like a month ago. um, I'm literally in my bed weeping, right? Because I saw their faces, and just to being a compassionate person, man. Like, yo, that's whole bloodline. You know what I mean? Like, it took a lot out of me, to where I had a conversation with my dad, and he was trying to talk to me. Not talking me off the cliff, but just the compassion for just people. You know what I mean? And it's God's people. You know what I mean? So, that's just part of my how I'm wired. So that to answer your question, that's just how I'm wired.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a reason why. you're wired that way. I think it's because you're truly your father's child.
Yeah.
And again, you try to give that to so many people. Now, from a secular standpoint, just from an economic standpoint, it just seems like we fare better when we win together. You said it earlier, like yo, you can't win by yourself.
Right.
I was guilty of that. Like yo, I still have the propensity for this. Like yo, I could still like I still have an ego the size of the entire planet. I have to be honest about that, right? I still
Supposed to. If you're a
think
boxer.
that, you know what I'm saying? Like I still think that I don't need you, right? And I'm trying to quell that, right? Because I can see how that brought about, you know, the detriment of many of pursuits. But also, but again, in an all well, that was serious. But I see how that's an impediment, man. No, you can't. You are right. You can't win by yourself.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, like, but again, I don't know if you talked about you being a boxer much, you know what I'm saying? But you got to have that mentality, right? But at the same time, as a boxer, you have a team.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean,
This
ultimately,
podcast doesn't work without Michelle and
right,
Vince. Everything that I've accomplished in the last couple of years doesn't work without
right,
without the conversations that you and I've had.
right.
It's sacrilegious.
Mm,
Like how you said it with so much conviction earlier.
hmm.
It's sacrilegious for me to sit here and be like, yo, I did this by myself. But here's the thing. But when you try to embed that psyche or that mindset and share that,
Hmm.
sometimes you share it with people that aren't ready to hear that. So let me ask you a question and put you on the spot a little bit. And we can be completely honest. Because you've been sharing things with me for a long time.
Right.
But I can honestly say that there were times when you were sharing certain jewels that I just wasn't getting at the time for whatever reason.
Mm.
Like I was consciously smart enough to
Well, yeah, of course.
take in what you
Right,
were saying,
right,
but I wasn't taking in what you were saying.
right.
Did you ever sense that? And if you did, what type of frustration does that produce when you either encounter it in
Um,
me or when you encounter it in others? Because you know,
mm,
like you said earlier,
right.
once your eyes open, you can't close them. So by now, you know that you're an alchemist.
Mm,
You know through tangible proof in your life that I can take metal and I can turn it into gold.
right,
And dude, I'm trying to show you
right,
how to
right,
take metal
right,
and turn it into gold, and you ain't getting it.
right.
What the hell is going on?
Again, we're all at different points in our lives. You know what I'm saying? So I never get frustrated. I'm just always here to share the same thing. Like my I'm not gonna stop being who I am and talk how I talk. This is all I got to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got gossip, you know what I'm saying, or what basketball player did this. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, all that stuff is cool, but are we building, are we building together? Um, what are we working on? Do we just shoot the shit? You know what I'm saying? That's cool, but like let's figure something out. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, ain't no pension plans. There's no on time from those jobs these days.
No,
So if we don't get in the next 15, 20, 30 years, it's gonna be bad.
and sooner than
Granted that we're here, you know what I'm saying? Because I believe God coming. I believe I believe He coming sooner than that. You know what I'm saying? But just say we here another 30 years, I'll be almost 80. No pension plan. Maybe Social Security gone. You know what I'm saying? So what are we gonna do?
I
You know
got
what I'm
a
saying?
brother. I was just trans. I want to shout out Michelle. So I still do have a 9 to 5, and
Mhm.
and there was just a huge transition, and I was a portion of it I was ecstatic about because my assistant manager was promoted to property manager, so she took my position,
Okay.
and as a leader, and I don't take credit for it. Like she had it, she
Right.
has it,
Right. Yeah.
right? I just needed to, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
not me,
Right.
it's her. But long story short, she's in that position, right? So she's a leader, and I'm happy about that. Feel really good about it. But then there's another brother that's there, older brother, 67 years old.
Mm,
He's a maintenance tech.
mm.
Like, so he making his money. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna say his name, nothing like that.
Yeah.
You know, he gets his social security, just got that, a couple bands. He still owes a grip on his house. He got his car payment. He had two cars. He paid one truck off. He about to pay the car off. But he's in a situation where he has to work. And not does he have, and we're not talking about Walmart greeter work.
Right.
We're talking about apartments. So we're talking about 2:30, water heaters broken,
Uh,
2:30 in the morning. You got to get up and you got to go take care of that. And he's fortunate because he has a maintenance supervisor
right.
that's sympathetic to his plight.
Mm,
So a lot of times the maintenance supervisor gets up and goes to do it.
mm.
But if
Yeah.
that situation were to ever change,
Right.
that wouldn't happen.
Right.
So you in a situation where you gotta grind so hard, man, and at that age, just to you're the way that you're gambling,
Right.
right? But it all traces back to choices and decisions that we made
Right.
or lack thereof before.
Right.
So at 45, I look at that now and I say, well, yo, the reason why I'm going so hard now
Right.
is because I fucked off a lot of years.
Mm,
And at 45, I'm getting in good shape,
mm.
quite where I want to be, but I'm getting there. But still, that's 5 years from 50. So when I'm talking about years of being super duper
Right.
productive,
Right. They're limited.
back to what you were talking about,
Yeah.
these years gotta really
Yeah.
count.
Yeah.
They gotta really count. Otherwise, I'll be in the boat that you're talking about,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I mean, and that's scary for me. Just to conceptualize. I don't even try to conceptualize. I don't conceptualize it.
Like
Right.
Floyd, you think about losing, you're gonna lose.
Right. Right.
You was Mayweather of entrepreneurship, my man.
I'm just
50
saying.
and 0.
I'm just saying. It's real. It's real talk.
It's real shit.
Like you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not thinking about your future 20 years down the road. You know what I mean? Because it ain't getting no easier. Like I said, AI here. You know what I'm saying? It's not getting any easier. Do it now. Wake up now. Figure it out now. Pray to God now. Ask for direction now. Ask for wisdom now. Do it now. Right. So in 20 years, you're or even sooner. Hopefully sooner. You're sailing.
Word.
You know what I mean? That hurt my heart when you said Buddy was 67 years old. I know there's a lot of people
A
start
lot
at
of people
67.
like that.
It's a lot of people doing that. I mean, because they have
Because they
to.
have to.
And that's effed up, bro. Like, it is what it is, but at the same time, it's like that's not gonna be me.
Word. It's
So,
not.
and I can't guarantee that's not gonna be me if I don't put myself in an entrepreneurial mindset and spirit. Because at any given day, the man or whoever you work for could be like, you know what? Appreciate the service. Did a great job, man. But we gonna have to, part
Yeah.
ways at this point. And then what
Happens
you
every
gonna do?
day. It happens. And they do it so cold.
Some of them do. Some of them, it ain't up to them. I mean, it just come
Yeah.
to economics, right? So the company
Economics.
ain't making X, Y, Z. We gotta let people go. It just is what it is. I'm not going to allow myself to be in a position where I can let a man tell me how and when I can feed my kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it always has been for me.
You take full responsibility and accountability.
Right.
And I didn't for a huge portion of my life. Why my marriage failed. That's why I was wayward for several years. Um, that's what led to the mental health journey, the transformation.
Mhm.
All of that was the catalyst to begin that. And, I can look here and honestly say I'm thankful for all of those experiences now because it produced, the monster that you see now.
Oh yeah.
Like I go so hard now
Yeah. Yeah.
because of,
Yeah. I mean, and I wouldn't even look at it as a disappointment. I don't know if you do, but like what
not
you're
any longer. No,
yeah. I mean, what you're doing is servicing people.
exactly.
So you had to go through what you went through for God to call. This is one of your callings.
No
When
doubt.
I when we first got first conversation, I'm like, bro, you got a voice, and you wasn't using your voice.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So you was doing yourself a disservice, you was doing God's people a disservice, and He had to shake up your world for you to realize what you're supposed to be doing. You ain't got that voice just for you to hear for you. just for you to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Back to Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Ubuntu. How does that make you feel as a brother to be like, all them years ago, you said that. Yo, you got a voice and you
Yeah.
ain't using it.
Yeah.
To now be sitting here on this. How does that make you feel?
Just I mean, anytime I can see development in my people, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gratitude, it's knowing that God is being God in these situations. It's affirmation, and I mean, just overall, just wholeheartedly, just makes you feel um just overall just good. You know what I mean? Because I think the human nature is good. And it becomes evil when we let others influence. I mean, not others, but certain entities influence us. But the overall, just human. I think we all want to see each other succeed. I would like to think that. Of course, it's not, but I would like to think that. But again, to answer your question, man, is it brings a smile. You know what I mean? Because we are all here to impart and to build. I think so.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that that smile is justified because to summarize everything that you just said, in multiple situations regarding me, but in that situation specifically, you were the faithful servant.
Mm,
You spoke
mm,
life into something.
mm.
And that's what true Ubuntu is. That's what collectivism
Mm,
is.
mm,
See, a lot of times what we do with a limited minds, see, you don't do this. See, you'll look at a brother, you'll look at a sister, you'll look at their attributes, and you'll be like, yo, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. If I had that mouthpiece, yo, this is what I would be doing with that. If I had this, like if I could walk in the room, like if I had that look, if I had,
yeah.
see, this is shit that the majority of the people don't share with other people.
Mm,
See, we don't look at another brother and be like, yo, you got this, and this.
yeah.
And I ain't even got
Mm,
that. But if I had that, this is
mm,
what I would be doing. This is what you need to be doing.
mm-hmm,
See, we'll hold that,
mm,
right? But don't get me wrong, we also got a lot of brothers out there and sisters like you.
mm,
And a lot of us just don't hear the call
mm-hmm.
at the time because
Right,
it took me a minute.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
took a minute. You feel me? And yeah, but I think Ubuntu is understanding the times that we live in
Mm,
because you accurately described them very well, I might add, and not getting discouraged
mm-hmm.
to say, you know what, regardless of the times, this is what I'm still choosing to be about the upliftment of my people,
Right,
people that are in my immediate cipher,
right,
and anyone that I may encounter.
right,
My life legacy is imparting this information.
right. Yeah.
And I see that in you, brother. You've always done that ever since I've known you.
Mm,
I feel like that's what I'm creating here with this podcast, using my own personal experience. Hopefully, people can glean insight from it.
mm.
And this is just the start of many different great things,
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
know, yeah, I want to make $1. You got to live in this world.
yeah.
You want to slice bread, but I want to impart this information, and I
Right.
and I feel like the Most High uses me
Mm,
as an instrument, as a medium to convey certain things.
indeed.
And I want to be like you. I want to be that faithful servant.
Yeah, yeah. Bro, you like the advancement. You've been doing this for what, 16 months,
Yeah, the
18
better
months?
part of 2 years. Yeah, never quit.
Bro.
And I quit a lot of shit in my life,
Right, right,
but I
yeah.
didn't quit this.
Nah, and you can't. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna see you put in the work now, right? And this is going to provide for you. Know that. And the scripture says your gift will provide for you. Your mouthpiece is your gift, bro. It will provide for you.
I used to use it just to get close.
Now, see,
I don't know.
now, I got a partner. He used his gift for the same reason, right? He did. He used his gift for the same reason. Um, I think before his demise, though, he got it right. You know what I mean? Because God gives us all gifts. You know what I'm saying? So once you tap into it, The scripture says your gift will provide for you. So, let that be, uh, let that be security in you, knowing that this will provide for.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
I just got to say that from the bottom of my heart, I'm grateful that I've met you. I'm grateful that you're my brother.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the imprint that you're leaving on this planet. I'm grateful for the father that you are. I'm grateful for the husband that you are, the go getter that you are.
Appreciate that, bro.
I think I probably know like maybe two other people that hustle the way you hustle. And when I say hustle, it encompasses all of it.
Yeah.
So it's not just the bread.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just commend you and I'm happy. I'm honored to count myself among one of your friends.
Oh,
I
dude.
really am.
Yeah,
And
bro.
I
I
appreciate
ain't got many of them.
that means a
It's
lot to me,
small,
man.
man. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, bro.
Word. I appreciate your time today. You got anything going on that you want to shout out?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my wife, man. My beautiful wife, man. She's
Shoot.
yeah, man. She's a great woman, great mother, holds us down. Shout out to my moms, AB. You know what I mean? My family, man. Shout out to my circle. You know what I'm saying? My team. And shout out to the Most High, man. Without like, I didn't share this with earlier, but said like I had couldn't shit for like a week.
Mm.
To 2017. And just real quick wrapping up.
No, I'm happy
But
to hear
they
it.
need to hear this though. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't shit for a week, man. And long story short, I called 911. They came and got me. I had never been admitted to the hospital. So they came and got me. I felt miserable. I didn't know what was going on. And long story short, the surgeon was like, "Hey, see what's going on. Um, and we're gonna have to put a bag on you." I didn't know what the bag was. I have to put a bag on you, and you may have to wear it for the rest of your life.
Mm.
I'm like, bro, I forget the name. I said, Doc, do whatever you got to do. But I can't keep living like this though. Like this, either this it for me, or I'm gonna wear the bag. Whatever's gonna be. But I can't keep living like this. And so I'm cut open here. You know what I'm saying? I told my wife the other day because I'm moving around in Orlando with my shirt off, whatever. I was like, I used to be kind of ashamed of it, but then I thought about Jesus, which who I believe in, right? They nailed him. He got holes in his hand. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? His body has been scarred. You know what I'm saying? So that gives me further confidence. Of course, I need to lose weight a little bit, but my scars, right, is there, and it's a testament that he brought me through it.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been colon cancer. I had I think it's called diverticulitis or something like that. It says a lack of fiber. I think that was God waking me up because I eat everything, bro. I eat everything. You know what I'm saying? What you mean lack of fiber? I eat everything. So I still never understood that part of it. But I just say that as as a testimony that God keeps bringing me through,
Word.
and that's when my faith is in Him versus them. You know what I mean? So just want to leave your people with that, man. And yeah, man, we're here today. We're gonna keep moving.
On that note, I can't even add anything. Yo, super duper thank you that you
Indeed.
joined us
Yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
Listen, if you found value here, and it's my sincere hope that you did, then please comment, like, subscribe, follow the You versus You podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, soon to be Twitch.
Mm.
And keep checking me out, and we'll keep busting this thing down. Peace.
Verse you, let's clear our heads of it. I'm so good now, I feel good now. The baggage put down, just let me live. Just let me live. Now my mind's clear. It's you versus you. It's you versus you. It's you versus you. It's you versus you.